Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Young guard's surprising role shows Warriors could be in good hands post-Curry. The post-Stephen Curry era. It's a time most Golden State Warriors fans don't want to forecast ahead to, and one they hope is still a few years away from coming into existence. The Warriors themselves are acutely aware of the post-Curry timeline, having thus far proven unwilling to trade their core of young players, or their stockpile of future picks for that matter. But it's not just Curry's on-court production that Golden State are set to miss once the 2x MVP departs the game, it's also his incredible leadership and selflessness that bleeds through the franchise. At 21 years old and entering his second NBA season, you could forgive Brandon Podziemski for focusing on his own game and how his individual development can help return the Warriors to the playoffs this season. In fairness, Podziemski has done that, telling Mark Medina of Sportskeeda during the offseason that he hopes to be considered as one of the league's brightest young stars, and that he's a candidate for the NBA's Most Improved Player award. Yet beyond his impact from a skill standpoint, Podziemski is already focusing on a more surprising role for such a young player: leadership. Last year's 19th overall pick recognizes just how much of an impact Curry makes in that area, and how he wants to emulate a similar level of leadership even at such an early age. Replacing Curry as a player is literally impossible. He's a once-in-a-lifetime superstar who's already cemented his legacy as the greatest player in franchise history. Replacing Curry, the leader, may also be extremely difficult, but that might be more realistic than trying to emulate the player. Where will the Warriors turn for their leadership once Curry retires? While it remains to be seen whether Podziemski can fill the void, the fact he's already acknowledging it as an aspect to improve on suggests the Warriors might be in good hands once the anxious post-Curry era takes place. Kerr details unique collaboration process for new-look Warriors. Chaos is how Steve Kerr best describes the start of his first training camp as Warriors head coach in 2014. The ball was flying all over the gym and there were too many turnovers to count as the first-time head coach tried to get his team to buy into playing faster and faster than ever before. Kerr was implementing his system and creating a culture he knew he believed in, despite not having any coaching experience. Admittedly, moments of doubt crept in. "We were not very disciplined those first few days," Kerr tells NBC Sports Bay Area in an exclusive interview. "I remember thinking, is this going to work? Do I know what the hell I'm doing?" Obviously, it evened out. "It's a good reminder to me the first few days of training camp are always a little rough." The crazy chaos Kerr had to shake his head at early on quickly turned into controlled chaos, leading to 67 wins and the Warriors' first championship in 40 years. Golden State became the trendsetters of the modern NBA. Everybody was looking for ways to both be the Warriors and beat the Warriors. As they launched three-pointers left and right and from unthinkable distances, their competition began catching up, or at least they tried. The small ball revolution is thanks in large part to Kerr, as well as having the luxury of generational talent in Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala, and others to pull it off. Now, the game has grown bigger with front-court players becoming more skilled and seven-footers stepping behind the three-point line. Evolving never stops, especially for a franchise that went to 5 straight NBA Finals and won 4 titles in an 8-year span. Trying to figure out the puzzle for a particular roster each year, it changes, Kerr said. You have to adapt, and as a coach you just learn that every season is very different and just try to put guys in the best position to succeed. That's the spot Kerr finds himself in now 3 seasons removed from the Warriors' most recent championship. Since taking down the Boston Celtics over 6 games in 2022, the Warriors fell to a number 6 seed that lost in the second round of the playoffs and then all the way down to a number 10 seed in a season where they failed to make the playoffs. This past summer was one of triumph for Kerr, winning a gold medal at the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics as the head coach of Team USA with Curry by his side. It also was a time for reflection and reevaluation. A gut check will do that. Getting punched in the mouth by your Northern California rivals made the competitor incur no changes had to come. The biggest change the Warriors are facing is life without Klay Thompson. With or without him, however, staying stagnant couldn't be an option for Kerr and the Warriors. The Warriors still will be a byproduct of Kerr's 4 core values of joy, mindfulness, compassion and competitiveness. Plenty will stay the same, but it will be impossible to ignore the changes Kerr has added, particularly to his offense. Long before he won gold and bounced ideas off coaches Ty Lue, Eric Spoelstra and Mark Few, and even before adding his own new coaches in Terry Stotts to enhance the offense and Jerry Stackhouse to get the Warriors back to being a top defensive team, Kerr took advantage of his unusually long offseason by picking the brains of others. Shaquille O'Neal believes Kevin Durant signing with Warriors tarnished his GOAT argument. Michael Jordan and LeBron James are usually the only names mentioned during the NBA's GOAT debate. According to former point guard Lou Williams, Kevin Durant also belongs in the conversation, but in a segment on the Big Podcast, Shaquille O'Neal revealed the biggest thing holding him back from that status. Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Durant, says his name should be discussed in the greatest of all time. Agree or disagree? Lou Williams, I think so. Kevin Durant is a transcendent talent, bro. We've never seen anybody like Kevin Durant. The timing was bad when he went to Golden State, but I think any other year of his career if he goes there it's not looked at as that particular thing. Shaquille O'Neal, I think he has his own special category, like me. I'm not in the GOAT conversation, but I am one of the 2 most dominant players ever. So he's 1 or 2 of the most prolific dominant scorers ever. You lose to Golden State and then you go join them, I think that tarnishes it. Now, if he can win one where he's the bus driver like Charles always says, I think we would definitely have to put him in that conversation. As a 2x champion, MVP, and 14x All-Star, Kevin Durant is considered generational talent by many fans and experts on par with some of the legends of the modern NBA. While most don't consider him the GOAT, he's not too far off from the territory, considering his unmatched skills as a shooter and scorer. As for Durant himself, we already know how he feels about the conversation. There is no question that he sees himself on the same level as players like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Stephen Curry. If the criteria were based mostly on skills, Kevin would certainly qualify more than most. Unfortunately, Durant's move to the Warriors in 2016 complicates his GOAT argument. He enjoyed unrivaled prosperity alongside Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, but it came at the cost of his legacy. With so much firepower to work with, a lot of fans dismissed Durant's championships, and when he moved on to the Nets in 2019, he was expected to go out and win one on his own. Since leaving the Warriors, it's been nothing but disappointment and chaos for Durant, and neither the Nets nor the Suns have come close to a title run. In fact, outside the shadow of Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant has very little to show in the way of team success. Critics like Charles Barkley have called Durant out on this for years, popularizing the phrase "bus rider" to describe his run in Golden State compared to LeBron's win with the Cavaliers in 2016. If not for being on one of the most stacked teams in NBA history, Kevin Durant might still be without a championship, and until he wins one on his own, that will always be the main narrative around his career and why he will never be in the GOAT conversation. At 36 years old, Durant is running out of time to build up his case, but if he can find a game plan that works this season, he may be able to pull off one last run before it's all said and done. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Shaquille O'Neal? Leave your opinion in the comments.